Be yourself. Today I want to talk a little bit directly to you about how hard it can be to feel like you can be yourself in most situations, because I think all of us at one time or another have tried very hard to blend in, to make ourselves smaller, to pretend we're something we're not in order to get the right kind of attention. The reason this has been on my mind is that, as I've mentioned before, I've been watching a lot of videos here on YouTube about how to improve your videos here on YouTube. And I was watching more this morning that were specifically related to grandpa and grandma content. Now, I am a grandma. I have freely admitted that I am a woman in my 60s, and I have reached a point in my life where I just want to be myself. I am tired of trying to fit the round peg into the square hole, excuse me, or vice versa. Just fitting in is exhausting, and it's something I've done for my entire life, starting back in childhood. The children should be seen and not heard. You have to be well behaved. Don't talk too loudly in class. And actually, my parents gave me my old report cards from elementary school. And it was funny because for several report cards, I was getting comments that I talked too much. The following year, my teacher commented that she had never gotten to know me because I didn't speak up in class. So obviously, I learned quickly, because it was over the course of one school year, that talking in class too much was not going to be good for me. And that was something that I would take my report card home. My parents would have a stern talking to me, and I took it to heart. Not all kids do that, and for many reasons. There are a variety of things that may have been going on with me in childhood that are more recognizable now as issues. I think education as a whole is much too generic. It's too broad-based. We need more individualized education for our students. Unfortunately, teachers are already stretched to the limits, and really, that's a topic for a completely different video. But the whole idea of being myself went out the window pretty young, because I realized that if I didn't try to fit in, I was going to get myself in trouble. And I did not like getting into trouble, because I'm sure most of us don't like being in a situation where we're being told we've done something incorrectly. And it is challenging, especially for someone with my personality type who really doesn't like drama. And that's really who I am right now. I am more willing to speak up than I used to be. I spent a lot of my adult life as a shy person who did not want to speak up, who did not want to really be noticed. I would just try to go and do what I needed to do, whether it was at work or in my college classes in adulthood. I had very much taken the you need to be quiet and stay out of trouble, be seen and not heard. I had taken that very much to heart. And I think that may be part of my issue in finding an audience here on YouTube, is that even though I am speaking up more now, I am not practiced at it. And it is something that I am learning over the course of time. I really probably did not start speaking out as much as I do until a few things had happened. One of the main things was that when I was an archivist, I worked my way up from an administrative assistant to an actual archivist, and I was thrown into giving tours of the archives. Literally, I didn't have a practice period. I wasn't shown how to do it. I followed along while other people were giving tours. I took mental notes, and then one day someone told me, "You're the only one available, you're giving this tour." So that started bringing me out of my shell. That and the fact that once I was the senior archivist, when I was the one who had the most institutional knowledge in our program, a lot of people would come to me with their questions, and they wanted to know what I knew. And that started to loosen me up and break that long-standing feeling of don't speak up. You're not supposed to speak up. Stay quietly in your corner, which is funny because my desk was in the corner. I was in the back corner of the work area. I had the beautiful view of the state capitol, and I was right next to the freight elevator, which I believe is still no longer working. Another story for another time. But the idea of being myself has been a very recent idea. And as I was watching the YouTube videos I mentioned, especially about the other grandpa and grandma content creators who were really starting to take off, I realized that I can't be just like them because I am who I am. I, right now, want to be nothing but myself. I want people to meet me where I am because I'm tired of having to be the one that goes to meet other people. And this is actually making me a little emotional, so my apologies, but it's difficult when you reach a point in life where, for all intents and purposes, you do become more invisible. I've noticed that out in public, even as a young woman who was married with kids and not considered maybe conventionally attractive, because I will, have always been a little more, a little heavier. I had a little bit more chunky body type than the norm. I'm not going to say I was fat, even though, in medical parlance, basically, medical records will say that I am well nourished, which I guess that's a nice way of saying it, but this is the way I was raised. This is the body type I've always had. I was very briefly thin, and now I've just settled to the point where I'm not going to try to fight it as much as I used to. I do try to eat healthy and I do exercise and things like that, but my body type is what it is. I've always been a little bit on the heavier side of the body type. And as a child, I got a lot of comments. My mother used to say things like, you'd be so pretty if you could just lose a few pounds, or, just random things that I know she probably didn't intend them to be hurtful, but they really did. And those were things that I internalized. And instead of trying to be myself, I went through a round of trying to do the Slim Fast shakes. I did those for many, many years. I did things like, I think there was something called Dexatrim. It was actually a drug, and it was available over the counter in the 1970s. And I started taking that to try to lose weight, and obviously it did not do good things for me. My family then turned around and said that I was starting to have personality issues because it had drugs, basically, that would try to speed up your metabolism, so to speak. And it was not something that I should have been using. It's not something anybody should have been using. And, then my mother used to try, she was a longtime smoker, and she smoked for some years to maintain her weight. She never really got as large as I did, but, and she was also taller than I was, but the least little weight and she would feel like she was fat. And so she also did not feel like she could be herself and enjoy food and things like that. She felt she had to smoke because the smoking kept her from eating, and she knew smoking was bad for her. And, so many of us go through these situations where, excuse me, people tell us we should be a certain way, that we should try to fit in more with what's going on around us. And we know that overall, there are just some ways where you can't be anything other than yourself. For example, your body type. You cannot make yourself taller, even though there were periods of time where people would buy shoes with lifts because they felt like they wanted to be taller and more imposing, or people would wear corsets. And now that wasn't necessarily to look thinner, it was to maintain a pleasing body shape. But again, you're trying to change yourself into something that you were naturally not. And like I said, at my age, I really feel like I'm not going to try to be anything other than who I am. Yes, I would like to be a little bit thinner because if nothing else, I know I would feel better. I know I feel better at a lower weight. But as I said, I'm trying to eat as healthily as possible and do exercise. And I'm doing that not to really change the way I look, but to change the way I feel. And I think a lot of what I'm dealing with right now is trying to feel better in my body. And in order to feel better in my body, I have to be myself. So I'm encouraging you, if you have stumbled across this video, which maybe you have, maybe you haven't. I've noticed in my analytics that apparently a lot of men are coming across my videos. I have never really felt that I appeal to a male audience. So I know that is a generalization, and there may be men out there who would be interested in hearing what a woman like myself has to say, even though I'm not, a beautiful supermodel. But I'm looking more for people who feel very similar to the way I feel, that you feel like maybe you've spent your life trying to fit into all these boxes that society tries to place us in, that you're trying to look a certain way, that you're trying to act a certain way, that you're really pushing down the things that bring you joy in life. And really, we need to spend more time trying to enjoy life because it's so short, and we don't know, no matter how old we are, we don't know how much time we have. So many things can happen, and life is fragile. So I think one of the best things we can do for ourselves is to try to be ourselves. And I think that would go a long way to helping people deal with a lot of the mental health issues that we're having. I know many mental health issues are chemical issues in the body, but some of it is related to how we are treated by others, or if nothing else, they're exacerbated by how others treat us. And it can be hard being the little kid who is not a fast runner, who is always the last person chosen for the team at school. And, you start feeling like you're lacking in something where that's maybe just not your strong suit. And it doesn't mean you can't enjoy sports, but maybe you don't really want to be on a competitive team. Maybe you just want to play for fun. I enjoyed playing softball in elementary school. I was a cheerleader in elementary school. I tried different things. I wanted to take ballet, but I was told I couldn't because of my body type. And whether or not that was true, I mean, maybe if I had taken ballet at a young age and had trained my body, I would never be smaller than I was, but I might have been stronger in a way that would allow me to perform ballet. Perhaps not professionally, but that was really never what I wanted. I just wanted to do ballet. I wanted to take tap dance. I wanted to play piano. And for various reasons, I ended up playing violin because that was what my grandmother played, which was fine. I do love the violin. And I did dance for myself, for my own joy. I would just dance to the radio. My mother was also someone who loved dancing and music. So that, I think, kind of ran through my family. I don't think my dad was as much of a dancer or a fan of music as we were. But things like that, the least little comment would send me into a spiral that would have me trying to change myself in some way so that I would better fit into those boxes that people were trying to put me in. And I'm really tired of it, and I don't want to do it anymore. So this is my plea to you. No matter what age you are, if you come across this video, don't be afraid to tell people what you enjoy. Don't be afraid to be yourself. Don't be afraid to sing and dance and be goofy and enjoy food, and just do whatever brings you the most joy in this life. And if people look down on you for being who you are, then those are not the people you should have in your life, because you will find a group of friends. You will find a group of like-minded people somewhere along the line. It may not be a large group, but if you find at least even a few friends who will dance and laugh and goof off with you, then that's all you really need, because that support means everything. And while you're doing these goofy things together, you're supporting each other. It's reciprocal because they are being themselves as well. And really, I'm not quite sure why I ended up going on such an emotional rant today, but like I said, I was watching YouTube videos this morning about how to make your YouTube videos better, and I decided that I don't want to try to do all those things. Yes, I'm trying to at least make it watchable content or something that you can listen to. I think it would be fun if people were doing crafts or something with, listening to me in the background. I'm fine with that. I don't expect anyone to have to look at me. Not to say that I think it would be horrible to look at me or anything, but again, that's a tangent we're not going on right now. Yes, I am self-conscious about my looks, even at this age, and, I still will take critical comments very personally, but not as much as I did as a young person. So if you are a young person and you have watched this, please remember that it's okay to be yourself. If you get in trouble for speaking up in class, don't take it too personally. There are times when, yes, you do need to be quiet in class so that everyone can pay attention, but don't take it to the extreme where you never answer questions or talk to your teacher, because you should participate. Your thoughts and opinions are just as valid as anyone else's, and it is something that you need to be comfortable doing. You shouldn't have to fade into the background and pretend that you are, a wallpaper pattern or something that most people aren't going to notice. And that's literally how I feel sometimes, like a wallpaper pattern that, I'm just one pattern within all of the various patterns on the wall. And everybody is looking over me because the patterns all look pretty much the same. Maybe that's a good analogy for society. We're all trying to blend into the wallpaper, but really, should we be? And I do think we'd be healthier and happier if we allowed ourselves to just be who we are. So if you have stumbled across this video, if you have actually watched this video all the way through, congratulations, you're one of a very few people. But also, I hope that something I've said has resonated with you. I hope you'll stop for a moment and think about the ways that you are trying to blend in and not be yourself. And I know you can't change things overnight, but maybe every once in a while, go ahead and say something goofy. Go ahead and sing to your favorite song in the grocery store, or sing in the car while you're driving with the windows rolled down. It's just, have fun with your life. Be yourself. Do the things you enjoy. And I guarantee you will be a much more relaxed person, because at my age, I really have stopped caring much about what other people think about me. Again, not to say that hurtful comments aren't still hurtful, but really, I know that most people, they're not even really thinking much about me. They're more focused on what they're doing in their lives. And if they are choosing to be deliberately hurtful, that's sad. And that's more their problem than your problem. So don't take it too much to heart. Continue to be who you are. You are much stronger than you believe you are. Human resilience is amazing. And there are people who have gone through some absolutely horrible, horrible things that have managed to flip their lives in another direction and managed to accomplish amazing things. And you can do that if you put your mind to it. I don't know where you are. I don't know what your life status is. I don't know what challenges you face on a physical or emotional level. But the fact that you are here, the fact that you ended up watching this video says something, because you maybe have the idea that you could be more yourself, and maybe you're just waiting for someone to give you permission. So if that's the case, here's me giving you permission to be yourself. as I give myself permission to do the same. Thank you for joining me. If you feel like it and you've stumbled across this video, I hope you'll check out some of my other ones. I post a lot of random content on here. Mostly, good grief, I'm having trouble talking now. Mostly related to writing, but I talk about my life in general. I talk about random things I have around the house. I talk about things I've done in the past. I talk about plans for the future. And I'm hoping, like I said, to find like-minded people. I may never be one of the bigger content creators here on YouTube, but wouldn't it be fun if someone like me took off just for being ourselves and not trying to follow all those suggestions that are being given to us by, in many cases, white men? I've noticed that a lot. It's normally white men who are saying, here, you want to monetize your channel? Let me show you how to do it. And by the way, I'm going to provide you a service. Maybe free, maybe I'm going to charge you. But why should I follow their advice when I feel like maybe their goals and my goals are not the same? So I'm going to continue to try to be myself. I'm an older white woman. I am a grandma. I am a writer. I'm a wife. I'm a mother. I'm a daughter. I'm a retired archivist. I'm all kinds of different things, but mostly I am me. And that's really what it all boils down to. So if you have followed along, again, thank you. I would love to know more about you. If you want to just say hi, maybe who you are and where you're from. I promise I will respond if I can. I don't get very many comments on here, which is fine, but that frees me up to respond to most of them. I do not respond to comments about, hey, beautiful, you want to start chatting, or the, the troll type comments that so many people get. But I will respond to all the kind comments I can, even if I can't speak clearly. And maybe we can just give each other a pat on the back and say, good job for being you. Thank you for joining me. I'm Cassidy Carson, and this is The Life of a Writer. Take care.